What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Day After Yesterday podcast. With me, as always, is my beautiful co-host, Megan.
He can't splat for spluttering, y'all. We're
Right.
back at it with another one, you guys, after the holidays. We both probably look a little scrubby because we're still recovering.
Speaking of the holidays, that's what this podcast is going to start with, is the elephant in the room. What has happened to Christmas?
Money. Consumerism. That is what's happened to the holidays.
I scrolled on TikTok and I seen some of the most ungrateful kids, and I seen some of the most grateful as well. But I also seen families spending $10,000. One person spent $100,000 on Christmas gifts.
Can we talk about the empty car lot?
Oh, in town, yeah, our car lot. I don't know if they're switching vehicles. I don't know what's going on, but there's no cars in town.
Like, in my mind, you guys, why you want to go get another car? And if your car's paid off and it works right now in this economy, like, hold on to that sucker.
And, I did see some people posting, on Facebook about, being ungrateful for what they got for Christmas. You want to know what I told everybody to get me for Christmas? What'd I tell you?
Absolutely nothing.
What did I expect?
Absolutely nothing. And same with me.
What was I happy with?
Food,
family,
the and
time.
food.
Like, the Grinch had it right.
Yes, he did.
I'm sorry. Like, he didn't like the bells and whistles and the greed and the gimme, I want it. This is not, that's why I don't really like Christmas. I check out. It caused so much stress in my life this Christmas that I ended up with a bulbous hemorrhoid, and it was bad all together, but it was just the stress of knowing the holidays was coming caused me to end up getting a hemorrhoid.
He's not lying, you guys. He had a bad hemorrhoid for the holidays, but this is the honest truth. I am 1,000% satisfied with my family and good meal. Why don't we go back to the old days of drawing a name out of a hat and one gift? Like, my house, you guys, after Christmas, for 3 days, you couldn't even walk across the floor. I mean, my kids were chaotic. And, don't get me wrong. I love seeing my children get new toys and play with them for the 30 minutes that they play with them. And the rest of the time, it's just thrown through the house.
They don't pay attention to none of it.
But it really is, when you look, it's insanity. It's insanity. I mean, why do we go in debt every year at Christmas for stuff that is mainly going to be thrown in the trash 30 days later?
Me, I'm getting to the point that I just don't like the whole consumer culture of everything. Consume more. I'm just so tired of stuff. It's like Christmas. We went smart. We bought them a couple little gifts, mostly stuff that inspires their imagination or creativity, like the birdhouses,
the pizza making,
the pizza making kit,
the ice cream making kit,
books. We got a lot of books.
They got 5 books each, and then I actually bought some more. I didn't even wrap it. It's just gonna go in their bookshelf for their school.
What you invest for under the Christmas tree for your children is an investment in their future. So if you're getting a bunch of plastic stuff that doesn't matter, that doesn't do anything, that gets thrown around, or somebody, freaks out because they stepped on a Lego block at 12 o'clock at night,
Sean.
Which Legos are cool, that inspires creativity, but
Well, our kids aren't really big enough for Legos yet. At this point, we have a 2-year-old and just turned 5. They're just like, toss it. Like, oh, cool. Okay, toss it.
Yeah.
Like, they're not Legos. They need to be a little bit older, and then I think they will get into it. Especially Chloe. She loves blocks, so I think Legos. She likes little tedious things.
Well, she likes Play-Doh too. She's a creative kid.
Yeah.
She likes doing things in the creative, and we're going to embrace that and nurture it and find out. Another thing, that child likes to sing, so.
Well, my sister took care of that for us. She got both the kids a microphone. Colton broke his within the first 5 minutes of having it open, but they can share the one that they have.
Christmas is just, I don't know. I don't want to pass, like, when I was growing up, it wasn't like this. It's
You got
changed.
like 4 gifts, and that was it.
Yeah, and I don't want to pass this consumer culture down to my children, so I'd rather man, I'm gonna start pulling back on a lot of things like stuff. I'm just
Yep.
gonna start pulling back and showing them what's more important is their granny and pa sitting there and
Yes.
their mama
Time.
and cousins and the time with family. That's what's important, and that's what I'm gonna nurture, and that's what we're gonna move forward. Like we've even talked about the point of gifts, like, hey, instead of you spending X amount, you spending X amount, and we're just clogging it up with stuff that's going to end up threw away or donated before the end of the, 6 months.
If that.
Let's go in, like if they need new tablets, let's go in and buy them new tablets, or come summertime,
Of
when they
course.
get bigger, go-karts or something like that. Let's go in something they're going to really enjoy instead of something that's just going to be thrown to the side.
And of course, me and Sean would pitch in the most, but like instead of our parents and my sister and everybody that gets them gifts trying to stress themselves out in stores looking for things like, hey, they need new tablets. We're going to pitch in top amount. You want to throw 25 in, you want to throw 25, and that's it. Like it makes it easy. And clothes, like growing kids always need clothes. So an outfit.
Yeah, Chloe goes through clothes like crazy in her little
She really
marshmallow
does.
belly.
And so I feel like we also need to teach our children about giving, understanding that there are less fortunate and you have all this stuff. How about these people that don't? Let's focus on them. So I think next year we might pick a few names up from the toy drive. I just want to do it different. I don't want to consume anymore. I would rather give a little bit.
Well, you sit back and you look and you see, look, there might be one gift out of everything they get that they actually gravitate towards and they keep it for a while. The rest of them is no.
Nobody wants to hear it, but it is the truth. It's just the truth. It is the elephant in the room. 90% of people are sitting back here going, and they're in the store stressing out, panicking out, like, we need to change that. It should not be. Christmas has just become about who's getting the most gifts.
And here's my thing. I'm not casting judgment. If
No.
you enjoy that,
You do
all
you.
power to you to do it. But for me and mine, we're just, it's getting nauseating.
Yeah, it's
Like, it gets to where, like, just the thought of Christmas coming around, I don't get happy. I'm just like, oh.
anxiety.
And then the bright moments is like, well, I know, we're going to be sitting around. We're going to be watching Christmas movies together. And that gets me through it. But then it's still the anxiety of knowing, like, just the.
Can't navigate your home for a week because all the stuff in the floor everywhere, tiny little pieces of things.
It's also, I don't want people to feel obligated that they have to get me something because I have everything I want
Yes.
and everything I need. And those are very, few far between. So, like,
Yes.
just give me your time. How about that? I'll take your time.
We have to make more sense. It's got to make more sense. I think a big part of bringing the joy back is going to be less money being spent. I really do. That it's less stress.
Well,
Food, draw a name out of a hat, everybody exchange gifts, boom.
really what I think's going on is people are opening the eyes to the world they didn't know was around them. And once you see this world, once you realize and you see it, there is no going back.
Nope.
There's no way of seeing it anything different. And then, you try to tell somebody and they're like, you're crazy. They look at you like, something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
But like, you're like, how do you not see
Yeah.
what's in front of your eyes? Like,
It's-
what was your aha moment? Like, what really...
With Christmas?
No, with just everything, the world in general, and now they can see your pants.
Ah, you got that. I got my pajama bottoms on. That's just, y'all, we're still crashing after the holidays. I think my aha moment would probably have been during the pandemic when we were just, locked at home. Everything was shut down. Like the very beginning when everything was shut down, there was nowhere to go. There was no stores to go in and buy stuff you did not need. That was the moment I was like, do we really need all this stuff all the time? No, we don't. And it was nice. Like my house was cleaner. My floors were cleaner. There was not so much chaos going on. And of course that led down a lot of other rabbit holes. But I think that was kind of the moment like, I didn't need to consume all this stuff that I thought I did to be happy.
My aha moment when I started seeing the world for what it was back in 9/11 when they found the passports on the ground. And that's when I was like, nothing in this world. And that was the moment my eyes started opening to nothing's right in this world.
I think, well, yeah. I thought you, yeah.
No, well, that was the complete eye opener. But what started it with me, because when we got together, I was the one to set up in the middle of the night on a Google binge and like, hey, look what I just seen.
Yeah.
So I've always had that mindset because it was just like school. The reason I quit school was because I didn't belong in the box they tried to put me in.
Now,
Megan enjoyed school.
Yes, that's the difference in me and Sean. Now, we are homeschooling our children, but Sean did not like school. We both went to public school. He didn't like it. I loved it. Here's the thing, though. I went to public school until my senior year, and then I was homeschooled my senior year because of my accident. Now, I learned more in that year of homeschool than I feel like I did all the years in school. That teacher, he would come to my house through the week, and like math, I never understood math until me and that man sat down, and he's like, what do you struggle with the most? And I told him I was like, math, and he's like, that's what we're going to focus on. When we had kids, I think we were both like, we already knew we kind of wanted to homeschool, but the realm can be a little nerve-wracking. And then, a lot of the times, even family will be like, oh, you need to do that. That's why, in my mind, homeschool is great. It is great as long as the parent puts the effort in to teach their child. Like, it's a job, and you have to take the time, and you have to make the effort to learn your child.
My whole thing with school, I wasn't built for it. Like I said, I wasn't built for that box. I'm not the person that you can tell to do anything. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to, if a natural body function, like going to the bathroom, hits me and I have to pee, I'm not going to sit there and raise my hand and say, I got to go pee. Can I go? No, I'm the person that's just going to get up and tell you I'm going to the bathroom, whether you like it or not, because for one, it's not healthy to hold your pee. So I don't like falling in line and following, single file. Because when was it that the Rothschilds, when they started the whole school system?
It's the famous quote. They wanted worker drones.
Well,
he said, want education, really.
He said, I'm not in the business of making thinkers. I'm in the business of making workers.
Yes.
So I'm not that dude. I'm not built. My family, it comes in my blood. My papa both of my grandpas was self-employed. My dad was self-employed. My mom self-employed. Like, I come from a bloodline of people that just can't.
My dad was self-employed for many years.
Your dad, like, I can't fall into the regular.
You can't do the 9 to 5. Just say it.
I can't. I don't know. The good Lord made me to where I can't be told what to do.
Well, Sean,
I don't like it. I have this. I don't know. It's ingrained in me, this defiance against authority figures. Like, it's just there. There's nothing I can do about it. It's a part of my DNA.
Well, you have to follow the law, but that law has to make sense.
Well, law mostly goes by morals.
Yes.
So I have a moral compass.
Right.
It's just the fact that, like I said, I'm not going to raise my hand to ask if I can go to the bathroom. Like, God made me to where I have to use the bathroom, where I have to pee, and I don't need a man to say, hey, yeah, you can go.
That you're focusing on all of that. School was just fun for me. Back in my day, the computers, we had little bubble computers that had the green dots flashing floppy disk. I lived in the head of the holler on top of the mountain. So for me, it was just somewhere to go to do something and have fun. And I loved sports. I was involved in a lot of sports all the way through school. Very athletic. I was in gymnastics, cheerleading, basketball.
Well, it was school. I don't know. And
Sean wasn't the sports person, so.
My thing, too, is they don't vet teachers enough. They really don't. They're letting monsters slip through the cracks.
It's kind of getting scary how every other day, and you have, when you got, well, with TikTok and all these other apps now, you're going to see this stuff no matter what. Used to, these things were, stuck down on these little local TV stations and stuff, but with the world being connected with social media now, you actually see how often predators and stuff are found in and around the school system, and it's frightening.
Well, as somebody that gets that's where they get their sick kicks, we'll call it. They're going to get a job wherever they like.
Yes.
You know, I like video, so if I go, I'm going to put myself around video. If they like kids, they're going to put themselves around kids, and these schools are not vetting.
Yeah.
And what really infuriates me is the amount of school tax that we have to pay that pays for some of these monsters to work and harm children. And that just like...
But it also pays for families who can't afford homeschool because it's expensive. They have an opportunity to get a free education.
Well, I just think that...
I get it, but he is right. There needs to be hard,
strenuous
background checks on these people that is taking care of children.
I just don't want the college mindset polluting the mindset of my child, because that's what's happening with these younger teachers that's coming in. They have a really politicized, polluted mindset.
Oh, the education system has got twisted. It has.
So I would rather have my kids, knowledgeable, but protected at the same time, but also being able to be themselves. Like, if Chloe is creative, we put her, because when I was a kid growing up, my mom can vouch for this. I started out, we didn't have a camcorder. We just had a little tape recorder, and I would tape these little, like a radio show. And then I would sit and record music to it. And then when the song was over, I'd go and I'd do a little, like DJ thing. And then, it got up to, I would do other things, but camcorders was always involved.
I can see Sean packing around a boombox and a camcorder.
Oh, I packed the boombox. I did.
I can see it.
But, it come into, when me and my friends was outside goofing off, I'd always grab a camcorder. Like, there's some tapes with some wild stuff on it when I was a kid, if I could find them. Like, us doing bottle rocket wars and jumping off of houses and, like, jackass stuff before jackass was jackass.
What he's saying is when that kid finds its niche, nurture that niche. See, like, our kids, they will be in a accredited program. Our kids are going to be using a CELUS. It's accredited. They've got a high school diploma. And Colton will actually start this August. Chloe will start next August. But, homeschool, it's not for everybody. But, for us, it's manageable and it's possible. And here's the thing, too. Everybody's like, God, they're never going to get us wrong. Chloe goes to gymnastics. Right now, she's in the one here locally. When she gets a little more advanced, I'm going to keep her in this one and then be taking her to Pikeville to that one. So 2 days a week, she's going to be in gymnastics. Colton goes to the indoor playground at the rec center. I'm eventually going to put him in karate, which is right down the road from the rec center, too. When he gets a little bigger, a little bit stronger. But I'm probably going to say, hey, can we do private classes for a while until he figures out what he's doing. But once she gets a little more advanced to gymnastics, I'll be taking her to Pikeville to do the really advanced gymnastics over there. She'll be around kids doing that. They'll be going to the homeschool co-op group here once a month. Hopefully by then they'll be having it more than once a month. But I have already, me and some other homeschool mamas have already gotten together. This summer we're having play dates. We're doing things like it's community based. You got to be very proactive. I highly support homeschooling, obviously, because we're going to do it, but it's a job and you got to put in the effort and you've got to connect with people to get your kids outside the home sometimes too, and in extracurricular things. So
it's just, my whole thing is, I'm afraid, Colton's wild. We all know that Colton's wild. And some days he's a little difficult, especially like if he's had some red dye, God forbid. And if somebody was mean to him,
yeah,
I wouldn't be a free man. Let's put it that way. I don't care. That's my whole thing. I don't want anybody to be mean to Colton or Chloe, so we just do it at home.
Well, here's the thing with, I know a lot of people say speech therapy, this and that, the social, but you guys, Colton was in speech therapy for 2 years. He came to our house twice a week and loved him to death. He done great with Colton, but I sat and watched him for so long and learned a lot from him. And he was always open to like, hey, he did not mind that I sat right there too. But eventually, Colton will be going back into speech therapy. But his school program with the CELUS will have speech and stuff in it, too.
Colton needs stubborn therapy because that kid can talk. Bubba can talk a lot. But it's just when he wants to, he'll talk clear as a bell, 4 or 5 words, whole sentences. But then you get him to do it again, and he's like,
everybody's always like, oh, Colton is so sweet all the time. He is what we show, but he is still a 5-year-old little boy, mind you, at the end of the day. And he also has Down syndrome. So there's days that are difficult. And like Sean said, you know, I can never stand the thought of somebody losing their cool with him and him not being able to come home and say, hey, Mom, this happened today. Hey, Dad, this happened today. So, you know, you have to understand. And we have a lot of people that watch us that have kids with special needs too. But for us as his parents, it is about protecting him and it's about protecting us as well.
and back to the red dye. If you got a kid and they're crazy wild and you're sitting here shoveling gummy bears and gummy worms and all this candy and even crescent rolls.
Yes. Has yellow.
It has red in it. It has yellow and red dye in it.
You sure?
Yes, I don't know why, unless they was trying to make a brown.
I don't know.
But remove that from their diet
And
for
watch.
1 week and watch what happens. Yep. Blue dye, my sweet little girl turns into a monster that I can't even be in the room with when she eats blue.
Let us tell you a quick little story, y'all. This is no joke. Our kids had not had dye in months. Of course, they get sweet treats, chocolate, and things like that. But we were at the racetrack, and we got them both a blue ring pop. You know those? I'm telling you that everything was great, happy,
2 days.
peaceful. 30 minutes, their heads were spinning. Chloe's throwing a fit, crying. This went on for 2 days, and we were like, wow, okay. We actually seen for the first, like, the real, like, going without it and then putting it back in their diet. It was a whirlwind.
Oh.
It was madness.
And where we've removed that from the diet just because we don't bring anything with dye in the house because we're afraid the kids will get a hold of it. So we've removed it from ours. Mm-hmm. Well, the other day I was out and I got me a bag of cherry sours and eat them. I could tell. Like my skin was stinging and crawling. Like I felt very anxious, very hyperactive. I couldn't focus whatsoever. So like, I don't know if it's got something to do with ADHD because I do have ADHD bad. And it like that day until I woke up the next day, I was off my game. Like I was.
You can tell a huge difference. Once you remove it from their diet and you give it back to them again, it is mind-blowing at the difference. That's another thing. Like, now don't get me wrong, Colton has a couple cavities, and he's getting ready to have dental surgery in March for that. It's already scheduled and everything. But his is not from candies and dyes and things like that. It's Colton's enamel didn't crystallize on his teeth like they should have, and he grinds his teeth really bad. But I know a lot of people's going to say, oh, well, look, he's got cavities because that's common in some kids that have Down syndrome. I don't know the medical term for it. You can look it up, but it's just that their enamel doesn't fully cover their teeth. His teeth has always felt dry and not slick.
Yes, there is baby teeth too. So
now listen, here's another thing about Colton that nobody knows. Colton despises milk. I have to give him vitamins every day with calcium and stuff in them. He despises milk. He will not drink it.
Drink it. He won't even hardly eat a bowl of cereal.
No,
he's like, yuck.
He won't. And then he hates water. Juice is all he wants to drink, and I have to water that down, and it's been a journey, but we're getting there. But definitely taking out the dyes and stuff with just his attitude and Chloe's attitude alone has been major.
Well, they're like hyped up anyway, but you give them dye and it's like...
You give them a bunch of dollar store candy and it's like madness. It's pure chaos.
Well, we can give them just regular desserts and they get a little, chocolate hyper, but it ain't like... They fight.
Yes.
They get aggressive. Yes. Like, they will claw each other's eyes out. Like, there been times we didn't want to film because we was like, God, man, somebody's going to think we done something. And it was just them two balling up like two cats tied over a clothesline.
Well, it's like after the track when they had those blue ring pops. I mean, they were vicious towards each other. And we were like, this is it. Like, we no more giving in. This stuff is eliminated from our children's diet. I mean,
well, Chloe, remember, she walked around the second day like she was depressed.
Total meltdown. And I felt guilty. I was like, why did I give in and do it? But it made me feel guilty because they had been so good, and then it's just like they eat all this candy and stuff, and manic meltdowns. I'm telling y'all, try it. It is hard. Like, we had to break ourselves, we had to break our family. Like, we
It's
had
definitely a lot of discipline because when you go in the store, you
yes,
can't just grab. And
no,
I went from a person that would put anything, I didn't care what it was, in my body
yeah.
to a person that when I'm in the store, I'm standing here like this for 30 minutes looking at a label and making sure it doesn't have dye and certain chemicals in it.
Me and Sean have got Food City mapped out. Like, we know where all the food is with no dyes in it. We know where a lot of the gluten-free stuff is. Like, I'm telling you, and it took us a good year to get there, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We would grab stuff that we would think like wholesome food that didn't, and we'd come home and we'd look and be like, holy cow.
We have to start that one back over because Megan's camera, like, y'all, we're having a hard time with these cameras because both of them we have only record for 30 minutes. So we have to stop periodically, but Megan's just shut off. Don't buy, listen, if you're aspiring to do YouTube, don't buy Sony cameras.
Yeah.
We have had nothing but hiccups.
Unless you want to pack 5 or 6 batteries around in your pocket.
All the
they
batteries
constantly changing.
Yeah, they only last, once you actually use the camera for a while, 30 minutes is about all you're going to get out of it. And then the Sony overheats, which is what happened. Hope it don't do it. I got to keep my eye on it again. I don't even know where the thing ended. I know we was talking about the dye.
Yeah, we just talked. Oh, I said we had Food City mapped out. We knew, like, we know where all the good food is, the dye-free food, like low sugar.
The key with grocery shopping is to shop your outer ring of your store. Yeah. That's where all your baking, which your baking's down an aisle, but you'll have your produce, your bread, you'll have your dairy and your meat and everything is all around the outer ring of the store. The center of that store is a trap. That is your processed food trap. You have to stay out of that and stay in the outer ring.
It is, but here's the thing. We have also slowly started sifting over to real pasta. Like,
oh, it's so much better.
It's good. So, but like, we've even that kind of stuff, because, you know, white bread and things are not good for you. They're just not. You know, we're always trying to think about Colton's future without any kind of medication, keeping his health good without any kind of medication.
And one thing that is actually bad is all this folic acid that they're enriching the food with. You have to watch that folic acid because it will cause ADHD. It will cause hyperactivity, hypertension. Yeah. Got to watch what they're like.
I think that's the one thing, like, a human body cannot naturally break down.
That's what I said. You once you see the world, there's no not seeing it, and then you start seeing more as the layers are peeled back, and you're just like, what happened? Take 546 because of stinking cameras. Listen, I'm gonna say it now. Canon cameras, everything else. Nah, I don't know. Nikon are good. The Lumix are good. Like, there's good cameras out there. And I know the end of this podcast is turned into a camera, but
we like our Canon for sure.
We've had some issues this podcast, and that's probably why it did defer into some weird areas and didn't go where places I wanted it to go because we've been fighting with the camera. And we're down to the last battery. This one will not plug into the wall, and I'm afraid we're about ready to die out because once this is over, Megan goes bye-bye because it's her camera we're having problems with.
Yeah. I think we've had a pretty good session. Anyhow, I think we should kind of finish with, we've been talking about health and everything, you know, under the sun, but me and you, it's so cheesy. Everybody's New Year's resolutions, but you know what? Maybe for once we need to, like, try some for our own health and stick to it.
Now, here is the only thing I'm claiming for 2024. I'm not making no resolutions. I never do because I never keep them. Nobody ever does. I'm sorry if you, I know you're not keeping that resolution, that stopping smoking, you're going to be smoking tomorrow. That
you don't know that. Encourage people.
Well, I know, but it's just the facts of the reality. Like we put these challenges on ourselves, and then we let ourselves down. Like, just say I'm going to, you know what? I'm claiming this year is my year and I'm going to do things differently.
To better my health and
So
my life.
I am claiming this year is the year of the hillbillies. We're going to do things differently. We're going to put our good foot forward. This is going to be the year of the cookbook. It may be closer to fall, but this is the year of the cookbook. This is the year I get my rear end in that kitchen and I cook all year round. I'm going to turn that into my dream kitchen.
Yeah.
I've already drove Megan crazy laying this kitchen out 500 different ways, but I'm going to make that my dream kitchen. We're outgrowing this house, y'all, quickly. We're just going to turn it into a 2 and 2, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, because we're already fighting over the toilets. Now, you put the little kids' butts in the situation, we're really going to be fighting over the toilets. So we're going to turn it into a 2 and 2. This is not our forever home. That's
Hopefully.
one thing. I want a farm. I want a farmhouse. You know, it don't have to be no big one, just a place where we can grow some food and have some chickens and, you know, some usable land. I'd like to have 10 acres that we could use.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, you know,
somewhere I can build the kids a go-kart track.
we
Don't
have
matter.
every intention on it, keeping on growing. We've kind of been at a stalemate in our lives. That's, you know, because we had newborn babies and growing with that, and then I had another newborn baby. We've kind of been in this place of like, let's get them up a little bit. They are the main focus, and we're getting there. They're getting a little more independent and figuring their own little minds out, you know, and what they love. And so mom and dad can kind of, let's refocus and get back at it.
And this podcast is the start of it. I'm going to get her up here. And the nephew is wanting to co-host some as well. So look forward to Christopher maybe coming up
Y'all
and
probably
sitting around and do a podcast with us.
Some of the OGs probably wouldn't even recognize my nephew. You guys, he's married with a kid now. He's about to be a registered nurse. Like, some of y'all probably would. Like, if you've been here from the beginning, he was in a lot of the very, very first YouTube videos.
Well, he lived with us.
Yeah, he did. But now, yeah, he's got little baby Squish, little baby Cohen, my little great nephew.
Because like we said in the whole beginning, if my parents would have nurtured this whole aspect of my life would probably be, well, I don't know, we're still on the right track.
Yeah,
so.
well, I mean, you know.
I would probably know a lot more than what I know now because I would have probably went into the field because I do love it.
Mines can change, though. You know, you figured out it's what you wanted to do later in life, and that's okay, too. We got to stop putting timestamps on everything. It's okay.
But what I'm
Figure it out
saying
a little
is
later.
if we catch Chloe and Colton at an early age,
I can tell you
Colton
right
may be
now.
a cook.
Yes, I can tell you right now, our son, life skills is his thing. Cooking, he loves, just like Sean, he loves to cook.
See, he could, like, you know, they bash people that put their kids on this, but it's giving, like, this is a career choice and
Yes.
a career path that you could take. And
Yep.
for Colton, it would be an amazing one for him to be able to have his own cooking show
Yeah.
or do his own vlogs. That would be a way that he wouldn't have to depend on the system,
Yep.
that he could do it himself. And Colton is sharp as a tack, and he would be able to do this. He walks around now with his tablet filming.
Well, see,
You know, he shows things and goes like he's watched us and he's learned from it and he enjoys it.
he's a little vlogger, you guys, with his tablet. It's the cutest thing ever. But it's the truth. Like, I do believe our son is absolutely going to be in the kitchen someday. He loves it.
And that's what I'm saying. If we embrace that from an early age and we teach him, before you know it, he'll be making something like lobster bisque by the time he's 13-year-old. You know, making big advanced dishes instead of just making cookies or something like that.
And the thing about Colton is he can't, you know, his vocabulary isn't huge right now, but he understands everything you say. Like, he understands it all. So
Oh, he can say it when he wants to, but just he's stubborn.
he is stubborn, but I mean, he still understands. It's like if me and Sean show him how to do something a couple times in the kitchen, he knows. Like, he knows where everything's at. He's mapped the whole thing out. He knows what bowl, whatever, where it's at in the refrigerator, the freezer. Like, he's a smart little turkey.
Yeah, I want to get Colton. And I've tried to tell Megan. She tries to control the situation too much when the kids cook in the kitchen. And I said, let them go. It's a mess we can clean up later.
When the stove is on high.
Well, I get when the stove, but I'm saying when they just grabbing at things, just let them grab. If it flips the whole thing of flour over and Chloe comes up and she's covered in it, it'll be funny.
See, that's why we're going to have a small kitchen studio one of these days. Even if we got to buy another building.
Wait a minute. I just said that like a week ago and you was against it.
It'd have to be bigger than the one we got. It'd have to be. That is future goals, though, you guys.
I literally a week ago, now she's stealing my idea and trying to make it
I
her own.
know. I said it would have to be a bigger building than what we've already got down there.
And you said, I don't want to cook in this room and carry it to the next room through the house and outside.
Listen, you're not understanding. I said
shut my
with the
idea
camera
down to
equipment.
take it.
You know what? You're lucky you all the way across the room.
This room ain't that big, so don't even say that. You can about reach out and touch me.
But yeah, that is future goals, man. A studio kitchen, a cool podcast studio.
My future goal is to have all the family living on a property, and we have a community kitchen, like a big industrial kitchen where we cook all the meals at, and everybody meets and eats at the same place, and then, you know, have that for that, and then a big nice outdoor kitchen. That's, you know, little kitchen in the house. I ain't worried about one in the house, just enough you can fix a meal, but I want a big, nice kitchen in the center of a piece of big farm with everybody on it, and we all live in, you know, community. Like, listen, if I ever hit the lottery, they would be telling everybody that I started a cult, because it would look that way. Because I would buy 50 acres, I'd put a 16-foot tall fence on it with razor wire, and I'd be moving all my family on. They'd be like, that dude's starting a cult.
We just hiding away. We're just doing our own thing. Everybody you talk to anymore, though, everybody's the same way. They're like, I want to go off grid. I just want to move back in the woods. That's what I say. People's tired of the consumption lifestyle material. It's draining.
Well, the veil has been lifted. People see the world for what it is and what's been hid from us now. And
a shift is happening for sure. Like you see so many people are wanting to move back to the way, slower days, less consumption of things, living more, thriving more natural ways of taking care of yourself. And
less
I
control.
love it. I'm here for it.
I am too. Guys, I'm super paranoid. This is going to cut out on us. This is the last, of the Mohicans. These are all dead.
He's got to poop.
No, I ain't got to poop. I'm really nervous because, like, once this camera's done, this podcast is done, and I've got to figure out a situation that works so we can continue these, because I enjoy this.
Yeah, me too. But y'all leave a comment, like always. Let us know what you want to hear about, because, you know, here we are just rambling away. It's what we do best.
We'll see you the day after yesterday.
Bye.